Just trying to survive and learn to love along the way by Foreplay on AO3. Episode 66, Chapter 66, of Weapons and a Ringing. Sashi is taking forever to pick up the phone. In the meantime, he can see the trail the villain is making, leaving unconscious students behind. Of course they're heading for some of his. Hawks. Shouta watches as Touya and Hawks come to an understanding before turning to him. He watches them a moment longer before giving them a nod of approval as his husband finally picks up. What's up, babe? Villain attack, northwest side. I need you to keep the students away from there. Any kids caught up in it? 3. Let me guess. Izuku's one of them. Shouta's silence is answer enough. Fuck. Shouta doesn't have to say anything to that, so he hangs up the phone and goes after Hawks and Touya. He makes it to the scene just as Hawks veers away from fire. He nearly fires right at Shouta. They make eye contact, and the hero tells him of the situation before they could even ask. One student made a wall of ice to protect him and another from the fire. Touya went in to protect the third. So 2 kids are maybe safe, for now. Where's the fire coming from? Hawks grimaced before answering him. Endeavor. Oh, he's fucking dead. Hawks doesn't even try to hold him back, as Shouta jumps over the ground rail. He jogs a path towards the flames and calls out as soon as he spots the number 2 hero. Endeavor. The man makes the mistake of looking Shouta in the eyes when he turns. His flames die out quickly. Out of the corner of his eye, Shouta can spot Todoroki's ice wall slowly melting away. There's a lump of blue flame a few feet away from him, but just as he has hope for the best right now. Endeavor looks pissed that Shouta used this quirk on him. What the hell, Eraserhead? What the hell, yourself? Why would you attack when you couldn't even see the fucking villain? Shouta tries to stay calm, but it's hard when he doesn't know how any of his kids are doing. Even if we can't see her, she was right there a minute ago. That doesn't give you the right to attack innocent students. Those are my kids you just attacked. It's hard to resist blinking right now, but he knows if he does, Endeavor would lose it. Your kids. Only one of them counts as that. 2 of them are my kids. Oh, you lost those rights. I would take both of these kids in a heartbeat and treat them better than you ever did. Not that standards are very high. Who attacks their children? Oh, you can have Touya. Good luck with that one, but Shouta is mine. Endeavor sounds far too possessive, so Shouta does the only thing he could think of. He punches Endeavor in the face. He has to blink then, and he could tell that Endeavor is rearing up to re-incinerate. That's when the villain decides to announce that she's still there. Hello there, Dabi. It's wonderful to see you. Endeavor turns his anger towards the scene behind Shouta. He turns around and finds that the villain is visible once again. She's standing in front of Touya, who sits in front of Kirishima. Further away, he could see that Shoto's ice is fully melted. He can't make out their conditions, but he could tell that they're tense from the way that they're standing. Both of them looked ready to fight. Shouta pushes his goggles and readies his capture weapon in preparation of the same thing. Aren't you glad to see me? Of course, she pulls out a fucking gun. She doesn't waste any time pulling the trigger. Eijirou isn't too proud to admit that he panics a little, so that's why he freezes when he sees Touya jump up from the stands and land a few feet away from him. He looks over to where the others are, and finds Todoroki running for Izuku, creating a wall of ice as he goes. When he looks back to Touya, the man is running at him. He hardened himself just in time for his impact with the ground as he tackled. He doesn't keep it up. He's not eager to hurt the guy, no matter what he did. Touya curls himself around Eijirou, just before there's a blast of flames. Touya must be doing something with his quirk, because while it's getting a little toasty, no fire reaches him. But the smell does. It takes him right back to the night of the forest. He could practically see Sato burning in front of his eyes, as the smell gets stronger. He tries holding his breath, but the smoke from the flames make it hard to do. Soon, he's gasping, but that just makes him inhale the smell even faster. Eijirou feels sick. There's a very large chance that he's going to vomit over this guy if this doesn't stop soon. The heat dies down a little, but there's a warmth that remains. Soon, that leaves too. But the smell lingers. Eijirou needs to get away. It's quickly becoming overwhelming. He knows that something must be going on, but the only thing he could hear are the heavy breaths. The smell is all he could focus on, and it's taking a lot of energy to avoid thinking about the forest. He doesn't want to live through that again. He shifts, and Touya finally, but achingly slowly, gets off of him. Eijirou sits up, with none of the man's care, and he takes a look around him. Izuku and Todoroki are still standing, and they're far away. He can't make out their expressions from here, but he could see when their stances change. They look like they're about to come over here and punch someone. Eijirou turns around to check the rest of the area, and finds out why. The villain who revealed herself is holding a gun, pointed right at Toya's head. He doesn't have time to think. Eijirou hardens as much as he can. He's focused on right now, and in a reverse of their position, throws himself over Touya. He makes it just in time. He could barely even feel when the bullet bounces off his hardened skin. The shot fired is such close in proximity that it leaves ringing in his ears. So Eijirou pushes himself, and unhardens his forearm on Toya's back, to get a better look on what's going on. The villain is turned away from them, facing Aizawa-sensei. Oh boy, their teacher looks pissed. He has a hand fisted in his capture weapon, and his goggles are up, hiding if he's using his quirk or not. Behind Aizawa-sensei stands Endeavor. Eijirou had always found the man a little scary, and the look on his face right now does not bring him any confidence. It looks like they're speaking, probably to the villain. Eijirou can't make out a word of it. Maybe he could do something while the villain is distracted. Her gun is still pointed in their direction, but she's not even paying attention. Bullets are nothing for his quirk. Although Eijirou doesn't know how much he has left in him, he's exhausted from the exam and the stress of the whole situation. Protecting Touya was about all he could manage. Still, he shifts a little, trying to get into a better position to do something. That's when he realizes just how wet his arms are, and how wrong Toya's body beneath him feels. He can't even tell if the guy is breathing. Eijirou looks down and immediately regrets it. His nausea increases, and he doesn't think he could do this anymore. That's a lot of blood. It's coating his hands and arms, and there are blood imprints on his chest from where he's leaned over Touya to protect him. The blunt flesh smell hasn't left. It only combined with the smell of blood, creating a combination that he never wants to experience again. He can't be here. He needs to get away. Eijirou tries to get up so he could get away from all of this red, but it's wet, and it's slippery, and it's everywhere. So he slips, and he ends up half-scrawled on top of Touya. No chance for escape. That's when he feels the pressure on his waist. He looks down and catches a sight of white among the red. He looks with blurry eyes, as it leads away from him and back to Aizawa-sensei. Oh. He goes flying. Once he's airborne, the pressure disappears completely. He's moving so quickly. He's embarrassed it would be vomiting mid-flight. He's glad he doesn't reflectively activate his quirk when he collides with something, because it's someone. They fly a few extra feet from the momentum, and when Eijirou looks up, it's Hawk's arms that he cradles in. Eijirou focuses all his attention on not throwing up, all over once on top of the top hero as they float down. He doesn't register where they land, just that they have. The moment they hit the ground, Eijirou launches himself from Hawk's arms to vomit. He stays there, on his hands and knees, panting after he's done. He can't hear a thing other than his heavy breaths and the ever-present ringing in his ears. He sits back his ankles and tries to shuffle backwards, but he finds himself stopped by a warm hand on his back. Eijirou looks up for the first time since landing, only to find Izuku's pale face right in front of his. His friend is mouthing something, but he's never been good at reading lips. I can't. Eijirou cuts himself off. He could hardly hear himself speak, so how is he supposed to know if they can? Izuku moves then, placing himself at Eijirou's side instead. Todoroki takes place, so he must have been behind Izuku. That means that Hawks is behind him. Why isn't anyone focused on the villain? Eijirou peers around Izuku and discovers that everything is already over. The villain is on the ground, currently being restrained by other pros. Aizawa-sensei is kneeled over Touya, along with some on-site medics. There are more heroes bustling around, and Eijirou can spot President Mike coming their way. His attention is divided when Izuku places a hand on his shoulder, and he leans in close. Kirishima, where are you hurt? He shakes his head, nearly smacking into Izuku's. No, I'm... okay. Then where did all the blood come from? Izuku's voice is still distorted by the ringing, but he can make it out okay. Not mine. Eijirou lifts a red hand and gestures vaguely to where Touya is. Todoroki's face pales in front of him, but Eijirou can tell that he's hesitant to leave. He gives him his best attempt at a smile, and Todoroki nods in return, turning and running in the direction of his brother. President Mike chooses that moment to reach them, and he kneels next to Izuku. His friend backs away slightly, so that he could talk to the hero. Gunshot. Something wrong. Hearing. Eijirou can only get bits and pieces of what Izuku said, but it's enough to understand what he said. President Mike moves so that he's crouched in front of him instead. He holds out a hand, and Eijirou assumes he wants him to take it. He reaches out with his own, but hesitates. It's still covered in blood, and he doubts that President Mike wants to take that, although there's no one else's to grab. He's practically covered in blood at this point. He can't go wherever his teachers are planning like this. Everyone is going to see him covered in blood. He doesn't want to freak them out, even more than they probably are. Eijirou starts to retract his hand, but President Mike reaches forward and grabs it with his own. At the same time, a warm weight is dropped around his shoulders, and he looks up to find Hawk standing there, now jacketless, looking all sorts of awkward. He grips President Mike's hand tightly and stands. Alright. Interesting. Quite interesting indeed. I'm still in that D&D sesh. For those who saw the episode that aired? What? What in the... aired? What the fuck? That posted like a couple hours ago. Still in it. I'm hearing them. Currently it's not my turn, but it's really interesting paying attention to two things at once. But let's talk about this. I feel bad for Eijirou. He's gone through so much, and that's just re-traumatizing, basically. And I do love that Eijirou saved Touya in that sense. But episode 67, or chapter 67, is called Of Headaches and a Traitor. Summary. The exam is over, but Izuku knows that this is just the beginning of the excitement for the day. Of traitor. Is there another traitor? Is it like how I predicted, that there's gonna be another traitor? Interesting. Quite interesting indeed. Alright, okay. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.